It's time for a random video. So I'll create a different type of video. It's time for another series I make. I don't know why I'm making so many of these series on my main channel all of a sudden. It's called Pitch Stuff because why not? Apparently, the point of this is to pitch ideas for games that you may not know. So again, because this is during Spread the Caddy weekend. I mean, Spread the Caddy campaign, where I'm trying to spread the word about some obscure fan game. I want to make it popular. I want the video about it to blow up, or at least some Reddit posts to blow up. I'm even helping. I'm even helping the guy out. I'm even helping the guy who's making the game. I'm even helping out the guy who's making the game by giving him some dialogue assets. I mean, Ace, right? Anyway, with that out of the way, I want to pitch some sort of prequel to Character Spy's Revenge. Even though the game doesn't even exist yet, it's pretty much non-existent. Even though Character Spy's Revenge is non-existent, because the game isn't even out yet, and there's not some sort of game leak, even though leaks are bad, because no one wants to get spoiled. But I really want to spoil myself for some reason. Anyway, time to get to the topic of this video. Pitch that. Well, I think I remember what it was called. Yeah, it was called Pitch Ideas because why not? So today I have a whole pitch for some sort of prequel to this game. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting a little obsessive over the game, but come on, it's Spread the Caddy weekend. Spread the Caddy campaign. It's a campaign of videos where I try to spread the word about an obscure fan game. The campaign will last as long as I want. Oh, but there is one rule. The campaign will only start if there's some sort of obscure character's fan game that I stumbled upon, and B, it has to be in June. It doesn't necessarily have to be the day where I made it up, which was, June 29, or no, the 29th of June. It can be any part of June. Okay, and with that out of the way, time to get the pitch. My pitch for an idea of a prequel to Character Spy's Revenge would be a grand story. So the story is that upon the peaceful valley of wherever Caddy lives or something, I don't exactly know where he lives, but I do know one thing: he lives far away from Manchester. He lives specifically 1 hour away from Manchester. So the story would be Caddy's just on some relaxing family vacation with his wife and 3 kids to Manchester for some reason. But he soon realizes he probably should have vacationed in a spot that took less time to get to, because suddenly Spawns wanted to plan an attack. He got some of Caddy's enemies to aim him out to try and destroy Caddy. On the promise that they will bring him Caddy so that Spawns can take over his YouTube channel and force it to be all about ads. As in, it's just a compilation of ads and ruin Caddy forever. And the reason why he was waiting for him to go to Manchester is because it takes him an entire hour to make Manchester, and luckily, even though Spawns only has maybe a few of Caddy's enemies, and some people that he got to work for him, some henchmen, some Some are big guys to try and attack Caddy with his plan being stopping the car, taking his wife and kids, and holding them hostage until Caddy either decides to give up his channel or manages to destroy him. It might not be that easy, despite Spawns being a kite, because he's ultra powerful and he can literally kill every. In Caddy video, and in the Kagura's lore, it was revealed that he can just destroy the entire world without even thinking. So how is Caddy going to deal with such a powerful force? Why? Why? He was also attacked and he ended up in a random canyon where he explores the canyon. Yes, this is the part where you play the game and not a cutscene. Where you have to find the legendary Slaughter and Salvage. For some strange reason, Caddy's old handgun and his barcode scanner was left hidden on some random part of a canyon, which he got launched to because of the sheer power of the trap. And if you want to mention the trap, I'll mention it later. Basically, Caddy finds the guns, which are coated in gold, which I forgot to mention. He gets them, and he's suddenly infused with some strange power that, believe it or not, makes him match half the power of Spawns. Which means it'll probably take him like, I don't know, two shots to like destroy the entirety of humanity, even himself, because he counts. So with these new weapons that are coated in gold, he must get out of the canyon. And if you're thinking about, which is a prequel, which is gonna be like, I forgot to mention, it's gonna be like an RPG. Just remember that. Apparently now you have to get out of the canyon to, like, go through a game. And with that, after going through the first part of the game, the title card rolls showing the title of the game. Caddy before Backers' attack, or Caddy, the attack of Spawns. Because why not? And I forgot to mention, Spawns is short for sponsor. So with that, now that I mentioned the opening of the story and how it'll open up, now I'll mention what was the trap. So they thought of it just a few minutes before Caddy even got to Manchester, which was basically a fake Peppa Pig that Caddy really wants to run over. But the Peppa Pig is a trap, as she's actually a giant pipe bomb, which then blows the heck out of them. Caddy is the one who is launched, and the others just get a concussion and are taken away. For the hostage situation, of course. And now, the way that this game plays, I want it to be an RPG similar to the vein of... I want the battle system of the RPG to be fun. It's going to be reaction-based. It's going to be fast-paced. It's going to be difficult to master. And, of course, the battle will be more interesting. It also will be more interesting as even basic attacks just have some extra things. And if you use basic attacks and your super attacks enough times, it's kind of like the advanced system from the Mario and Luigi series, where if you use an attack enough times, Mario and Luigi find out a new way to use their bros attacks. Basically, it's a stronger version of their attacks, which again can bypass spiky objects. Which for spiky objects, Caddy doesn't have to worry about it because he doesn't jump on his enemies. he shoots them. And he can also punch his enemies like a man. Because why not? I'm gonna give him the ability to do that. It's kind of like the hammer from Mario and Luigi, but practically you can only use it in battle. However, not to worry, you can upgrade it later in the game, but I won't mention that until later on. Basically, the first feature will be a dynamic battle system. Another feature the game will have will be an expansive, expressive map, giving Callie the ability to jump, get extra abilities to jump. Despite only being one man, he doesn't need no bro to expand his jumping abilities. Because this British guy is full of wits. He can use because later in the game he can use the salvage to make him float upward to basically give him a higher jump, and then even later in the game to make him flow upwards. And the maps will be highly vertical and expressive. They'll be expressive, full of funny little cameos to Callie's videos, and of course, you can't have a Kakarot's RPG. Well, he still have the blue characters, though less Kakarot's characters will show here because why not? So with that out of the way, another feature I like to have would be, hold on, I gotta think about this. And I'm not finished with the whole huge map thing, but the map will have some puzzles that you have to solve, which will mainly be for the dungeons. Now, another feature will be bosses can be to have special abilities and play different to the enemies. Like a basic enemy has like several types of attack, while the bosses have pretty much. Like the enemies have like few types of attack, but the bosses have a lot of types. Basically, did you know that if you revisit a boss that you already fought, but you're stronger, then they get stronger with you too, by having more attacks. But the thing is, you can only do this if you enter a PS1 or something. A PS1 to represent their grave. Because gravestones are gray. So after we talked enough about that feature in the battle system, now I want to talk about how the story progresses. Obviously, the story will revolve around Callie going through a bunch of misadventures, which go through a big main plot, while having a bunch of subplots to make it a little funny, a little random, some references here and there, until he reaches the end. In the end, you have to fight. You have to fight Peppa Pig. You have to fight, Peppa Pig and Batty, because don't forget, a right-hand man will always bring their right-hand man, because why not? Except maybe Spawns, because he's too strong, and bringing even Peppa will be overkill, since Spawns is already strong. Oh, later on in the game, your guns can get upgraded. So they go for their color doesn't change, but their bullet types do. The salvage is mainly used for used for defensive purposes, or more of avoiding purposes, because usually a salvage can be used to avoid attacks. It can be used as a healing device, which you can only use 5 times in a single battle, and then you have to do 5 more battles without it until you can use it again. So basically, later on in the game, the salvage actually has a lot more use, and if you decide to upgrade enough, you can even make it stronger than the slaughter. Where later on in the game, the salvage can be is turned into a high powered laser beam. It's turned into a highly powered laser gun that still retains its barcode stick scanner thing. And yes, this laser is so powerful and can break any kind of rock. And then the gun also gets upgraded. It also gets upgraded. Now you can choose to upgrade both the slaughter and salvage so they can become equally more powerful. Like for example, the super salvage. Yes, that's what I'm calling it. Can be turned into a hyper salvage, and turn into a giant laser beam. It can be. It literally changes its physical appearance to become a laser beam. Although the hyper salvage is an extension of the original that can be used as an upgrade, and you can only use it once every 10 playthroughs. Just kidding. You can only use it once every 15 battles. And you can't use the abilities gained by a super salvage either. And yes, the hyper salvage can open the hidden part of the game to find the last platinum relic. Yeah. So the last platinum relic, which will be the 202nd platinum relic. There may be some questions like, why aren't there like 240 platinum relics because of Crash 4? Well, the reason why is because this simply takes place. It's meant to take place before, like, Kakarot's Batty's Revenge, which means that the prequel to Batty's Revenge takes place before Crash 4 launched. But, like, before Kai went to Manchester or something, during the time where he got all the 202 platinum relics. So, the reason why all these platinum relics are out in the real world is because, well, they simply got sucked out of all Kai's save files for all his Crash games. So, all the Crash games that he ever has all the platinum relics for. The ones mentioned on the Platinum Relics video, the one that came out before Crash 4 released. The ones that came out before Crash 4 released. Hold on. The ones that came out before Crash 4 released. Basically, they're all gonna be hidden around the world. And if you really want to 100% the game, you're gonna have to do a lot of backtracking. And to not make it tedious, you'll have fast travel around the worlds. But you only get fast travel around the worlds by completing the entire world. Well, or at least getting through you have to get through half the world in order to unlock it. And fast, you have to get to the world. But if you just got to that world, then you will only start at the beginning of that world. Wait, no, that's obvious. That's literally what usually happen. So you have fast travel for the worlds. And what is this fast travel? Why, it's the Crash Bandicoot 3 Warp Room. So the way you enter the Warp Room would be once you get through a prologue to the game, as in when you get through like the opening of the game, at least the very first part of the game before the title card shows up, you get access to the Warp Room, which allows you to warp to a world that they have gone to, which means if you just got, which means it's basically a way of fast travel to travel quickly around worlds. But fast travel will also be given to travel through a specific location in the world, because if these worlds are going to be massive, then might as well give you checkpoint. That might as well give you checkpoints. That might as well give you checkpoints where they can teleport to, and they also function as save points. Basically, they allow you to save your game. What's the matter? That's not good enough for you? You want to have more control over your saves? Well then, you can just go to the start menu, press save, and you can save it. That's pretty obvious. That's in most games you know. Oh, I got a little sidetracked, a bit sidetracked there. I'm struggling to remember some of the ideas that I had. But now back to the Super Slaughter. The Super Slaughter can be upgraded into the ultimate. It can be turned into the Death Machine, which basically turns the gun into a high powered Tesla coil. As in, it's an electrical weapon that's like very powerful. And the weapon basically equals the damage of an advanced like power attack. Basically can upgrade both of the guns to be extremely powerful. And if you don't like the regular guns, there are actually more guns. Though you can only get them later in the game when you've already upgraded them, which come with some of the abilities that come with the Super Slaughter and Super Salvage. Which basically these guns have different properties, but these properties, but some of the properties make them worse than the Slaughter than the Slaughter and Salvage. So the Slaughter and Salvage don't become irrelevant to some of these guns. Like for example, the Phoenix Games logo. Okay, it works like the Salvage. It's a defensive weapon. It's a defensive weapon. It's a defensive weapon that's a better block. It's a better block, and allows you to deflect and even allows you to deflect attacks that they normally would only dodge. But the disadvantage of this logo is that this logo can never be upgraded to attack, and it's only a defensive item. And to make it even harder, the blocking part is super hard, because you can't just like have it block for you. You have to. It works kind of like the guard system from Paper Mario, where you have to press a button at a very precise time to block something correctly. Depending on your timing, it may be better. Like if your timing is just good enough to block it, then you just block it if it's a projectile. But if your timing is immaculate, then it will deflect. But it only works if it's like some sort of like projectile, not an enemy. But there is an alternative to this. For example, ramming. Like if your timing is immaculate with an enemy just attacking you head on, like really immaculate, like really good, then you will just ram the shield into them, and the shield itself is very good. And pretty much the shield's overpowered. Like pretty powerful, but again, the timing. Your timing needs to be very precise. And if you ever decide to push like the A button or a key or a key just a bit too early or a bit too late, then your attack will fail, and and you'll take extra damage because the shield falls on your face, which must hurt a lot. So the Phoenix Games logo, it's a really good defensive weapon, the best in the game. But again, it's more for the experts out, for any Paper Mario experts out there who are really used to the guard mechanic. So if you've never even touched Paper Mario, then I suggest you stick with the salvage for a defensive weapon, and not the Phoenix Games logo. Next there's the machine gun. The machine gun is a stronger version of the Slaughter, but here's the problem. But like, it's really good and more powerful than the regular gun. But if you carry it around, then dodging gets harder because your jump is slower because machine guns are really heavy. So your timing has to be a little better, and you have to jump a bit ahead of time. You have to jump ahead of time to do it right. And because the gun is so heavy. And because of the gun's immaculate weight, like the regular amount of weight, then if you wear the machine gun, you cannot use the salvage. You cannot use the salvage in battle. You cannot use the salvage in battle. You can still use it in the game. It's just that the machine gun doesn't allow you to use the salvage, which in some battles which later on in the game is essential because later on in the game, basically the only way to dodge attacks is to perfectly time your salvage. But the timing will be made a bit easier because the salvage lasts for a bit of time, and if an object is if your invincibility runs out while an object is still colliding with you, don't worry. Oh, don't worry. You get frames of invulnerability until it's no longer hitting your hitbox. So really, I'm being pretty ambitious here, but I guess I have a lot more ideas, but I'll choose to end it here before it becomes 30 minutes long. So the last idea I have. The final boss is Spawns, and his final battle is ridiculous. You're not allowed to use jumps, which means you're basically restricted from using some of your super attacks. You're pretty much no longer allowed to use some of your super attacks because you're pretty much no longer allowed to use some of your super attacks because some of those involve jumping. And you can't jump. And you can't jump because of something that Spawns does to you, so you can't jump. Basically, once the final battle ends, that's it. Kai saves his family. Everything that you expect happens, and it happens, and after that, it's done. That's what happens. Yeah, it's over. Bye. Well, not yet. But then the ending of the game shows Batty yearning for revenge, which will happen in the first game, and the secret boss for the prequel of Kakarot's Batty's Revenge will be Gilsby Pontus. And again, he'll be the hardest boss in the game, and any of his attacks can insta-kill you. So you need to get one of the so you need to have the super. So super salvage super is essential. It's an add-on to the super salvage, which can be gained after getting 200 platinum relics. Okay, bye.